So I'm
It's
with
up in
Kyle.
the air. I met. Oh yeah, yeah. You go. You
No,
do
you
your
said
thing. Sorry.
I want to hear. Oh, it's up in the air. What do you mean? So
Well, I met this Irish person. She's like, "No, you need to go McConaughey. It's McConaughey. What are you doing?" So now I feel guilty for whatever. But yeah, but no, whatever you said is great.
I could listen to her. I'm with Kyle McConaghy with Dead Mail.
Perfect.
Either way is perfect. Speaking of perfect, your movie is perfect. I really loved. First of all, you get this question a lot. The look of your movie. I was looking at some Q&As. Can you just talk about mixing it with shooting on film, but then you guys also used the red? So just for in layman's terms, just talk about that visual look for your film.
Oh, well, thank you. So great to be here. And we actually shot the film digitally. We shot it on the Red Komodo, a contemporary-ish camera, and tried to. We used some old lenses that I think kind of lent to the hopefully somewhat not contemporary look. Added a little film grain, did kind of a custom color grade, but I think lucky to have really great sets that Peyton Jane, our production designer, led the way on, and our producer Zach Weil was integral in helping find and stuff. So lucked out just having we're able to just point a camera and get a little bit of that 80s look naturally.
That's amazing. So do you feel, I mean, not to start a big argument here, that people say shooting on film, when you shoot on digital, you're not going to get that grain, that warmth of film. Are you on the other side now as far as just your experience with Dead Meal?
Man, I don't know. And actually, I worked on Sterling Macer Jr., who's one of the stars of Dead Mail. He plays Josh, an amazing actor. He's also a great director, and I worked on his film last summer. We shot it on 16 millimeter. There's certainly things with 16 millimeter, no matter how hard you try digitally, you just can't replicate. So I see the benefits to both for sure. But for Dead Mail, it's just kind of fun. Like, hey, let's push it as far as we can, and hopefully get some kind of not generic retro aesthetic was the goal at least.
So I'm in my early 50s, the 1980s, synth music. I used to live in Minnesota for a couple of years. I can relate. How can you relate?
Yeah.
You're, I believe, much younger. Did you and your co-collaborator, did you guys research the area or were you guys always into synth music or that look? How much work did it take for you as far as creating this world for both of you guys?
I mean, I think it started kind of saw Clockwork Orange, late teens or whatever, and heard the Wendy Carlos score. I'm like, oh my God, what is that? How do we do that? What can we do? So we bought a couple of vintage synthesizers off of eBay. They didn't really work. We kind of pried them open. We're trying to figure out how to make them work. I'm definitely not technical. I think I had my dad help me at some point to figure out how to make it work. But that kind of started like a fascination of, I guess, the electronics which kind of led to some of the synth stuff in Dead Mail. But yeah, I guess in general, yeah, I think it was just that kind of aesthetic of that kind of dusty analog synthesizer, something we wanted to capture both audio and also visually.
What was the challenge as far as creating this script? Because without giving too much away, you think it's going, as a viewer, you think it's going one way and it just completely changes direction. So that's really great as the viewer. But for you as writers, how hard was it building the world? Because it's very immersive.
I think when we started writing it, we had written a couple scripts prior, not very good. We're not super trained in any kind of realm of filmmaking. So we knew like, all right, we got to like be a little more focused on this script. And we kind of from the beginning, we wrote the opening scene where we see a man leaving a house bound and bloodied to drop a letter in a postal box. We're like, all right, let's just follow the trajectory of the letter. Let's act as if the letter is like the main character that whose POV we're going to kind of operate with. So we kind of wrote it with that in mind. And then at some point it felt like, all right, the letter's going to switch hands and we need to figure out why the letter did and the backstory of it. So it kind of happened somewhat organically as Joe and I were writing it together.
That's great. There's a lot of backstory that's not actually that viewers can infer. There's a sequence, if I'm recalling, regarding was it an oil drum or some kind of drum? Trent's talking about living within that world. How did you guys come up with that monologue? Because that's a great way of actually shaping out that character without giving too much away. Because I thought that was very resonant and very, very deep. So.
Well, we cannot take any credit for that because that was close to verbatim of a speech that a teacher gave us in high school. He was running for like local office, like a state representative. He lost. he disappeared for a few weeks. We didn't really know why, maybe even months. And he kind of came back and he was just talking about like the dark place he was in. And he was like, I'm going to be honest, it felt I was living in an oil drum. I had cut out a little slat so I could see the world, but it couldn't see me. And so, yeah, at least that's the memory of he said something to that effect. And I just remember being in sixth period, junior, whatever class it was, and being like, okay, all right. Thank you for your honesty, Mr. Anonymous.
Mr. Anonymous. Speaking of Mr. and Mrs. Anonymous, I'm not going to give too much away, but the characters in your narrative, it is like it says, a work of fiction. So are we to assume that these are imaginary people or actually real people who are, and you guys constructed an imaginary world around them regarding a certain part towards the end of the movie, you know? So
Other than that character, certainly there's no person we were basing any of it after. It was a kind of a stupid gag at the end that we did that stuck. But yeah, other than little remnants of that character being influenced by an old teacher, and I guess it's good too. Like Sterling Macer, who I mentioned, an amazing actor.
so
Like
good.
when we'd written some of the script before. I met him here in LA and I worked on another film with him and became great friends. But then when it seemed like, oh my God, he needs to play Josh, he's such an amazing kind of tactile actor and just a savant in general. So it seemed like if anyone could play an astute engineer, synthesizer engineer, it's gotta be Sterling Macer. So it's fun kind of writing to people, I guess. But so then also kind of maybe wanting to capture glimpses of the people we know in the real world. Yeah, fictional, luckily.
Yeah. So, Kyle, I'm just a watcher. I'm just a cinephile. So when I see something like Dead Male, it's an indie film that I think that's just really gonna pop. How much does it feel? How cool is it to know that it's gonna be streaming on Shudder and AMC Plus for you guys? And did you guys think that you would get to this spot? How hard was it to really get to this level? And then your film is also praised. Did you guys starting this? Is it a surprise for you as far as all the success for this movie before the release and how it's going to be distributed?
It is such a surprise. We feel so grateful. I was talking with Zachary Weil, our producer, yesterday, just like remembering. I mean, this super low budget film, ultra low budget. And yeah, and so like the expectations were like, okay, maybe we can get in like a mid-level festival or something. We were even Zach and I were even kind of discussing like, do we even spend the $80 to submit this to South by Southwest? Because we didn't know anyone or have any connections or anything. So total surprise. We feel so grateful that any of this is happening. And yeah, certainly along the way before it got into South by and other things happened, it did kind of, just feel like, oh boy, this is like I guess like the third low budget indie that I've directed, and our kind of little community here has done a lot of these types of films. So it feels bleak for sure at times, but also just feels grateful, like man, to be able to be making a film and even if it's meager funds, to have the funds to try to do it. Susan Priver, she's an actor in the film and also a producer. She kind of helped get the film off the ground. And anyway, yeah, so super grateful, long-winded answer for that.
Now, what's the unlock? It's an ultra low budget film, but the film does not look cheap. You have some really great performances, okay? From actors who are not in the middle of Hollywood. You're not getting Clooney or Pitt in your film, but you're getting great performances and your film doesn't look cheap. It looks very immersive and really cool. What's the key to doing that? And your production design is very well handled as well. Love that property. But what's the key to actually making it ultra low budget, but still making it work as a movie?
Well, certainly the people that we really lucked into hiring, Peyton Jane, our production designer, hadn't worked with Peyton before and was just absolutely amazing. Carrie Ann Savastano was our costume designer. Rafif was our makeup artist. They all did such a great job. But maybe more macro than the individuals, I really think we benefited from filming in Los Angeles. There's just most people say like, oh, low budget film, don't film here, film in your hometown because everyone will be excited to help you out. But I feel like there is the same synergy with low budget filmmaking here in LA. There's so many prop houses that have, I mean, just, so much retro props that we use that we couldn't have found, or, the other filmmaking cities, I'm sure, but certainly our hometown, it would have been impossible to find the level of support and props and rentals. We got a great deal on those vintage lenses. I think it really did benefit and made it a much stronger film and a more expensive looking film filming it in LA.
So when they say don't shoot in LA, did you guys already while you were shooting this film or actually prepping for this film, were you surprised at how you guys could shoot in Los Angeles as far as doubling for the Midwest? And did you know that that was kind of a myth? I mean, I guess you guys proved it with Dead Mail.
Yeah, I mean, it's something like that I've heard. Like, I listen to like a lot of filmmaking podcasts. You sometimes hear of like, even if you live in LA or New York or wherever, go home to make your film. And not that, and I know plenty of people had so much success with that. But yeah, in our case, it did just feel like, and that was something we contemplated, like filming it. I'm from like, or I used to live in Peoria, Illinois, and Joe, he lives in St. Louis still. Like, we thought about maybe filming it somewhere, but just being here and working on a few low budget films here was like, there's just so many resources, and I feel like people they want to see filmmakers succeed and filmmaking succeed because in Los Angeles, so many people's livelihood depends on it. So I think people are really not jaded and just kind of wanting to work with you. So I feel really lucky that we got so much support locally here.
Thank you so much for your time. Just very quick question is you mentioned Psycho, but right off the top of your head, can you name one particular film that has really inspired you, not just as a cinephile, but as a filmmaker? What makes this movie such a personal favorite choice for you? And thanks for your time.
Maybe at the top of my head, I'd probably say different every time, but the Fritz Lang film from like the 20s, just something about like, I think that was like a early film I saw in college or something that was just like, oh my gosh, like no, knowing it was one of the first sound films and the way that they use, or Fritz Lang's first one at least, and the way that he uses sound so expertly and like way better than like our film or contemporary films. I think just that was kind of an inspiration, and probably too just having a an antagonist who's so awful, but there's maybe still something about that Fritz Lang does to kind of bring humanity to, is it Peter? What's it? Anyway, but
Oh,
yeah,
right. Yeah. Who's
Peter Lorre, I
Peter
think.
Lorre? Yeah. What
Yeah, yeah,
what I tell people is when I see M, visually, it's better than so many movies I see today.
right.
Do you have an idea why? Because I'm just blown away. And then when he went to Hollywood, his movies didn't look that great with more of a budget. So kind of relates to what you guys are doing, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, I think at that point when I would, watched that film a few times, like earlier in my life, like I wasn't a filmmaker, an aspiring filmmaker, so I wasn't kind of analyzing it from that perspective. But yeah, he just certainly captured something super memorable, and that we've all been copying for decades since. Like, yeah, it's probably been like 100 years since that movie came out. That's crazy.
That's amazing, Kyle. Thank you so much for your time. Really love Dead Mail and appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. This was such a good interview. Thank you. I hate the Irish thing, so I'm really sorry. A white dude who talks about Irish
No,
heritage. There are few things worse. So
you were awesome, and when you guys get your big $100 million budget movie over in the studios, I'll make sure that I'll be doing interviews with you, hopefully, and then Amanda will be listening too, hopefully. So
yeah, oh yeah. Any movie we work on, we'd love to speak with you again. So thank you so much, Greg. It's really great talking with you.
pleasure. Take care.
All right, have a good one.
Bye.
We'll
You
see you.
too. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. For more movie and television reviews and interviews, please subscribe to my Deepest Dream channel. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and as always, thanks so much for your support. Take care.